you another video. And in this video, I want to answer the question that I feel like so many women in this space are asking. And that question is why? Well, why are black men blaming Jada Pinkett? Or why is it that black men hate Russell and Sierra so much? And why is it that so many black men are in these black BWE spaces? Why? And the answer is, ladies, it's because they think you're less. It's because they think that you're less. They think you're less of a person. They think you're less of a human being. They think you're less worthy. And because they think you're less, that's kind of why they create these narratives. Also, too, their victim narrative is very important. It's very central to their identity. So they can have 1,000 pick-me channels, but if there's one channel where that's painting a different narrative, or that just says, like, hey, we as black women don't want to put up with this, they'll play into that because it justifies their victim narrative, but at the same time, they won't recognize the pick me channels because it's less. Like, that validation is less, you know, because you're less of a woman. The validation you give is going to be less. You know, you can give great advice, but it's going to be less. You know, you can be an amazing high achiever, but it's going to be less because they see you as less. And so once you understand that, you'll stop fighting the narrative. Because I think that some of us think that, well, if we make a response video that we're different, or if we, no, they're going to always think of you as less. Like, you know, so you can come with all the facts, you know, but the reality is they just think less. They think less of you. And I don't think misogyny is like exclusive to the black community, but how socially acceptable it is very unique to the African American community. How, like, socially acceptable a toxic level of misogyny is, you know, because typically, you know, when we think about it, a lot of the rules of patriarchy, right, were not created by women. You know what I mean? When we see, like, all of these wedding proposals and the guy getting down on one knee and giving the woman the ring of her dreams and the proposal of her dream, women didn't create that, right? That was created by patriarchy. So when a guy fails in patriarchy, typically he will because he thinks of women as less. Like, if you really think about it, a lot of the men who are so critical of women, let's be real, a lot of men don't like them either. Like, they don't have a lot of male friends either. And sometimes, you know, when I would see videos kind of being really critical of black women in BWE, a lot of that criticism is from guys who probably don't have a lot of male friends either, right? They probably don't have a lot of men that like them either. They probably don't have, excuse the background noise, I'm doing some chores. They probably don't have, like, tons of male friends, or they're probably not doing great in the, you know, in their employees' eyes, or doing great academically, or doing great at too much else in their life. And that's why it's kind of easy for them to have 6, 7, and 8 hour lives, right? So I feel like a lot of you ladies keep looking for, like, that answer, and that's the answer, is that they think of you as less. Now, the question becomes, you know, if black men think of you as less, is it better when you, like, jump the fence or you date IR? I think you're going to confront, like, misogynoir in lots of different places, but because you're used to it and can identify it, you can avoid it. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, like, you're kind of, we always hear vet every man. Black women, I think that when you get out there, you're going to find that your vetting skills are pretty good because of how you've grown up and how you've been conditioned. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because you've grown up wondering, oh, does he like black women? you kind of are gonna have that sixth sense transfers. You know what I mean? Listening to like certain toxic talking points, you know, you've heard it already. Like, yeah, I've heard it already. I've heard this, you know, so it's not gonna be, you're kind of already ready for it. You know, because I know a lot of you ladies are very like nervous about starting, and you're thinking that, oh, it's very overwhelming. This is a lot to think about. You're more prepared than you think. If you grow up with black women, you're prepared for a lot of things. Trust me. So I think that, so no matter where you go, you know, there's going to be dusties, there's going to be misogynists. But because you know, like the key words, phrases, and behaviors already, those red flags will go off pretty early, and you'll know to avoid those talking points. But to the answer to the question why, the answer is because they just think less of you. They just think less of you, and you're not going to change their minds. No facts is going to change their mind. No level up is going to change their mind. No examples of women who have defied the odds are going to change their mind. Your degree is not going to change their mind. If they think less of you, they're going to always think less of you. And the reality is like they don't really see you like as human. Like I just thought of this because, you know, this whole thing with Will and Jada, I hate to keep bringing this up, but it made me realize that the only difference between Will and Jada is not a non-disclosure agreement. Like, because they both were involved in some shady stuff. But the only thing is that Jada didn't have as airtight of a non-disclosure agreement as Will had with the several women he's had affairs with, which he revealed, you know? So that's really the only difference between the two of them. But the reality is that Jada, being a human being who lacked the type of oversight that Will had, because she took, I don't know if she took him at his word or what, I don't know enough, but because she lacked that oversight, because she's a human being, right? The Sierra and Russell Wilson thing. Let's be real, because they think of her as less, it really didn't matter. Even if she didn't have a kid, she would be some washed up singer who's trying to get a come up off of the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, right? She still would have been less, baby or no baby, because they think of us as black women as less. And I think that sometimes we want to fight back at the narrative because we're being attacked. And that's natural. That's natural that we want to fight back because we are being attacked. But there are women who do that. They have great channels, and I suggest you support and share and like. But you don't have to respond to every single criticism. In reality, it'd be better if you left it up to the professionals and then protect your own peace and then go live your best life. Because believe it or not, you going out there and putting yourself out there is way more destructive to their narrative than you like making a response video. You know what I mean? There are women who have done a great job with their platforms, growing their platforms, put a lot of work into their platforms, who are doing good work out here. And let's stay on code and just support them if it's something you want to support. But at the same time, like binge watching these videos and going nuts in their comment sections is really not going to change the fact that they will always think less of you. You know, they'll, examine your typos or bring up some statistic from 1954 or some obscure journal that they found in the back pages of the internet to support because they just think of you as less. And once you stop dealing with people who think less of you, your life gets better. I had that situation with an employer, right? They thought less of me and my labor. So guess what? I went somewhere else and got paid better. Been in a relationship. I remember being I told this on my Game on Game video. I was in like a situationship where the guy thought I was worth less and didn't think I was worth the title. Ended up leaving that situation and dating a guy from my unit. I mean, this guy I ranked him. He was not on a path to be great in the military. And he was on the enlisted side, I was on the officer side. So I had no business with this guy anyway. But when I left that situation, because I knew he thought less of me, I got into a greater situation. The guy I dated after him was like a third generation West Point graduate. Like, you know, he was tapped to be the brigade surgeon when we got back from Ramadi. Like that, and still to this day, we have a good professional relationship, even though it didn't work out with us romantically. He, you know, shoot, when he was at launch stool, and I needed something, that launch stool led ahead, and that Colonel such and such, he helped me out a lot. Years later. You know what I mean? That relationship, even though it didn't work out romantically, professionally, it benefited me a lot. So I'm grateful that I walked away from the guy who thought less of me. And then, like I told you too, in that video, Game on Game, 23 years later, this guy comes back and talks about, you don't remember me? And I'm like, no, not really, I don't. He had to remind me who he was. Because I was so far past, you know, whatever it was he was doing. So people who think less of you, trust me, they're going to think, listen, it's really not worth like the energy to combat it. There are women who are putting that energy out there. And if you want to support those women, I encourage you to do that, because that's what code really is. But take back your peace and take back your power, and not really indulge, you know, them with the dignity of your response and your presence, knowing that they think less of you. You know, we used to have this saying, like, you know, they'll put you in the trash and pass the bag, right? Because it really doesn't matter what you do. You know, they've already discarded you and your womanhood. So why bother? And also right now, ladies, I'm letting you know, it's not safe to be over there, okay? Simply because when more than one person is unalived by another individual, the FBI creates a criminal profile. And there was a very high profile case where more than one person was unalived, and that person had connections to the manosphere, the Black manosphere in particular. And now the majority culture is kind of going after their manosphere, and they are labeling it something very different, because this is not like local law enforcement or like a crime in the criminal justice system. They're labeling it something that falls under the terms domestic errorism, okay? So DT. Now, if you're guilty of DT, right, that falls under the Patriot Act. And for those of us who were around in the early 2000s and in, whether either government service, military, or law enforcement, that means a suspension of all your constitutional rights. So nobody's really going to be putting up with this rhetoric much longer. And what my encouragement to you ladies is to kind of stay away from it, especially if those of you who want to go into government service, those of you who maybe want to even go into high levels of finance, because a lot of times background checks are required. Those of you who want to go into like IT or cybersecurity where background checks will be involved, you just want to keep your IP address far away from that, okay? It's just in your best interest. Now, you know, we can talk about privacy and rights and Edward Snowden and I have duck.com and nobody can follow me. Yeah, they can, okay? I'm just saying, be safe, protect, because a lot of you ladies in this algorithm, I'm looking at my analytics, a lot of you are young and you're just starting out your careers. You don't want to be caught up because of something you were curious about or looking at, and especially in these right to work states where they don't have to tell you what they found. So that's just like a warning, like ladies, like this just is really at this point not worth your time and effort and energy. And I get it, because you're being attacked, and when you are being attacked, you want to defend yourself. And what I'm saying is there's already people who are taking that risk to do that. So, you know, support those ladies if you want to, but, you know, but at the same time, protect yourself, protect your peace. So again, you know, I just want you to realize that, you know, when people think less of you in any capacity of your life, that is a sign to move on. That's a sign to move on. And I know that a lot of times There are women who subconsciously, they want the apology. Subconsciously, they want the accountability. Subconsciously, but what I'm telling you, ladies, is you're not going to get that closure. You're not going to get that closure because they're dealing with issues on their own that a lot of times have nothing to do with you. And I mean, I feel as if I've been trying to say it, and maybe I should have been more forthcoming with it. Especially when I did like my substance abuse videos, when I did my men's mental health videos, when I talked about, you know, declining Black male life expectancy. They have a lot of issues that they need to be dealing with, and the least of them is relationships. You know what I'm saying? So because they have issues they need to be dealing with, the best thing you can do is like leave yourself out of the equation so that they can deal with it. For those of you who have like a Christian background, or you know that almost every single man in the Bible, and I think I'm pretty sure it's across all other faith backgrounds, where there was men who needed time in the desert, right? You know, David had time in the wilderness. Jesus, after he fasted, needed time in the desert. Jonah needed time in the belly of the whale. Every man needs that loneliness, that solitude, and that rock bottom moment to get that pivotal turnaround. And which is why I'm asking you, ladies, when you see this type of behavior, to leave it alone in every single aspect. That is a person who needs to be ghosted. Not only because it doesn't protect your peace, it's really the best thing for them. You know, like there's so many times, I mean, I remember I had a student who his mother kicked him out the house, you know, and he said it was the best thing that ever happened to him. And, you know, and as awful as he probably cursed his mom's name, being kicked out of the house was the thing that really put him on the right trajectory. So every man needs to go through that. So don't indulge in it in any way, shape, or form by like validating them in any way in this behavior, you know. And I think that a lot of you ladies see, well, this person is participating on the Suited Content Creators platform and it's making me look bad. And I'm trying to tell you, no, it ain't. The women who are over there are a reflection of what men like that attract. Okay? A lot of men don't have problems with girls having 5 and 6 baby daddies. Most men don't have that problem. Most men don't have that problem with, you know, girls with OnlyFans accounts. Think about it. I think I looked it up actually because I was going to do a video on it, but about how less than like 3% of women between 18 and 35 have an OnlyFans account. Like, so it's like, it's such a small percentage of the American female population that even has an OnlyFans account. But 86% of the users are men, right? But only like a tiny percentage of the creators are female. So it's a very small group of women who are out here doing this. So if these men are out here thinking it's disrupting their dating pool, is because that's their dating pool. Like those women are their dating pool. And that's not most women. Okay? In fact, if we really look at who's really making money on OnlyFans, quiet as it's kept. It's the men in the LGBTQ community. Really, that's who is profiting the most off of it. Quiet as it's kept. It's not, you know, they market it in a certain way, but the reality is that's who's really. So anyway, but that's just if you bother to look it up. So I'm just saying that you have to, you know, protect your peace, protect your future. You know, I think about Ketanji Brown Jackson, right? We've been talking about her a lot. You know, she was doing great in private equity law, right? But once she got married and had kids, she wanted a better work-life balance. And that's when she got into like the federal clerkship system. And then look where it landed her. So what I'm saying is, you might have an intention for your career and then life takes you in a different direction and it's an even better direction. So don't block your blessings now by getting involved in this. Oh, thank you for the super chat, TT. Um, so I'm just saying, like, I want for you ladies to like just not be over there for the sake of your future because you never know where your future is going to take you. Um, and let the people who handle it. In the meantime, ladies, just protect your peace and make sure that you're uploading content and being involved with content that's edifying you. There are so many great content creators, Black women content creators, and other content creators from all different backgrounds who are making like great motivational videos about finance and overall wellness and fitness and just even just motivational shorts to get you inspired during the day that just gives you a quick word of encouragement. So your algorithm should look a lot more like your hobbies and a lot less like this gender war. So again, you know, I will still continue to watch my analytics and see what you ladies are watching. But even so, even with YouTube, I mean, what? I think the ninth. Oh, back. Okay. I think Major League Baseball starts like the ninth. And, you know, my favorite team is the New York Mets, and they've got one of the best pitchers in the league. You ain't gonna see too much of me in these YouTube streets. Welcome, I got things to do. I got plans. I got plans and I got tickets. I'm so excited. Like, I'm so excited. So, you know, it's interesting because I did take a YouTube break for a while because I was tagging like baseball stuff in my community tab. I got contacted to be part of a focus group for MLB Network, right? Because they were looking for like you know, ways to improve it. And one of the things that was so interesting is because they knew I had a predominantly female platform, and that's the direction that they're trying to grow in. They're you know, they're trying to get younger, more diverse, and more female, more women involved in Major League Baseball. So, and the thing about it is they're very, very well aware. Some of the people in the focus group were content creators as well. They were sports bloggers and vloggers who maybe like worked in professional sports or they're sports journalists. And they're very well aware of what happens in like Black YouTube, right? The gender war politics. But the biggest question they had was, oh, thank you, Chavis. Not too bad for a Braves fan. but one of the things they wondered is why they know these guys are losers. They wonder why you're entertaining the losers. That's their biggest question. It's like, why are you over there? You know, that's like that is like society's biggest question about you as Black women. Why are you over there? Because everybody else has kind of written these guys off as losers. But somehow y'all are over there. So that becomes a question. So that's kind of really why I want to encourage you ladies to just clean out your algorithm and just really take care of yourself. Oh, shout out to Samantha Cooker and Yogo and Samri in the chat. Check out Samri's channel. She's got a lot of really great stuff out there about technology, for those of you who are interested in it. And Samantha Cooker's been doing some great social commentary. And then Chavis's channel is mostly has some faith-based couples content. So check out those content creators who are here in the chat. But ladies, I just want to encourage you to really protect your peace, to protect your future, okay? And to really start to make sure that your algorithm is edifying you and not frustrating you. Because these things here, because a lot of people are very, very curious about your viewing habits, right? And what it takes to get you ladies, a growing, educated demographic who's coming up financially, to get you interested in other things. So I think you should start showing those interests, because you'll be surprised who's over here watching us. You know, hey, if there is nail polish, makeup, cooking utensils, spices, cleaning products that you like, ladies, make sure you're, you know, if you're a content creator or think about creating content, or you have a hobby that you want to monetize, people are watching. People are watching, and this is going to be a really good opportunity for you to focus on people who don't think of you as less, but people who want to see more of what it is you actually have to offer. So this is Mocha Mommy, and I'll see you ladies in the next video. Thank you, Samantha Cooker. Definitely, ladies, check her channel out. And I'll see you ladies in the next video.